Okay, I think I am back now. I think I am right side up, and I think all the emojis that were around my head are now gone. So we're gonna try this again. Hello, everyone. I've never had this much problem starting a Facebook Live, but I wanted to flip the camera so that if I hold up anything, you guys are seeing it in the right direction. And it kept putting these filters, and it was putting all these laughing emojis around my face, which was cute, but like, I don't need people laughing at me the whole time. So good morning, everyone. Hello, Charity, Sarah. I'm missing, the comments are going really fast, and I'm on my phone today. Misha, I see. Jenny. So, yay. Lena. Yeah, that was the emojis all around my face, that laughing emoji. It's some weird Facebook filter. Courtney, hello guys. Oh, you got to see it. Okay, I know, it was kind of fun, but you know, a little distracting too, I think eventually. Okay, so Tristan, wow, a lot of you are here this morning. Today I'm doing 11 Eastern. Just so no one gets confused, tomorrow's 11:30 Eastern. I'm going to go a little later for the West Coasters. And then later this week, I think I might try the afternoon. I'm really afraid to schedule Facebook Live ahead of time consistently, like more than 24 to 48 hours, because y'all are moms, like you just know, like things come up and life is crazy. So we'll see what happens. But this is a really down week for me, so this was kind of fun and inspiring, and it gets me kind of going to have all these fun topics and gets me thinking about our year too. So, hello! Yay, MJ's here too. So many people. Okay. Y'all gave me some hard topics. So the first one I am tackling, and this is for Kim, who's not even in here, though I heard it from a few people. Hopefully she'll catch the replay, is motivation. Staying motivated for, sorry, I keep getting text messages because I'm on my phone. Staying motivated all year long in your homeschool. Staying engaged and energized. And I was focusing on the mom staying motivated because I'm not sure how well you can control the kids. But if that's a topic we need to talk about, I'll have to put some thought into that another day. But I'm going to talk about some of the tricks and tips for me staying motivated. And we're also going to talk about self-care because I feel like those two topics kind of go together. But we'll see how long this goes. And if it's getting too long, we'll do self-care later this week. Okay. I want to start by saying, though, that I feel like a lot of the topics people are suggesting and asking about, it's because we're looking for a magic bullet that doesn't exist. There is not like one great way to stay motivated during the whole school year. And the reality is you will lose motivation. You know, it's just going to happen. I was a teacher in the public school. I lost motivation. By the end of the school year, the teachers are like banging their heads on the wall and they are so ready for it to end. So I feel like first there should be a reality check. Like, don't be too hard on yourself when you wake up and you're like, I just don't feel like doing school today. That's going to happen. It happens to all of us. Right, no magic bullet. Holiday times are hard. The month of February is hard. And May is hard. In general, in my opinion. That was true for me when I was teaching in school. That's been true for me teaching in my home. For me in general. That just holiday time was hard to be motivated at school, though it was a really fun time. February was very hard to be motivated in school. Even in the schools, I remember the first year I was teaching, my team leader told me, like, February is really hard. And May. And yes, Dorian's already kicked off an idea. When you aren't motivated, to find something fun to do. So, sounds like a poetry tea time day in her house. Like, kick off with something. And that's perfect. So, we'll add that to our list. I'm putting that so I remember to mention it again when we get there. So that was one thing I was going to say. It's just kind of know that calendar year, know where it's going to be hard, and kind of recognize that and plan for it. Give yourself grace. Everyone has days where they're not motivated. There are months where it's hard to get motivated. So a lot of it depends on your life circumstance. It depends on the weather, the calendar year, everything that's going on. So just know that that's just a fact. Okay. And then you've all probably heard the old joke. It goes around everywhere. I don't know who said it first, but in the fall, I'm a classical home educator. In the winter, I'm a Charlotte Mason. And in the spring, I'm an unschooler. It's kind of that seasonal calendar feeling, like we all start in the fall and we are so gung-ho. We have our routines and our plans and our schedules and our Post-it notes and everything. I'm seeing what this one says. And everything is gung-ho, ready to go. And then by the winter, you're finding yourself loosening up. You're getting into the arts and you're getting into Shakespeare maybe. You know, you kind of find your Charlotte Mason feel. And then by the spring, you're kind of like, okay, kids, what do you want to study? So that's normal too, okay? And so part of it is just to embrace that that's going to happen and work with it instead of fighting it. Like, go ahead in the fall, and I was kind of writing down ideas of embracing that for the fall. Go ahead in the fall and really embrace that schedule and routine. Get it established, because that is what you will rely on the rest of the school year when you're not feeling as motivated. I mean, that first September, when you are ready to crack the whip, like, get a nice routine in line. Like, this is how our days are gonna look. Maybe don't plan. I know the fall, it's really nice to get outside, but maybe try to really focus it on after school so that you can get that routine established. So that was one of my thoughts, is maybe, and I take field trips all the time, but maybe a few less in the fall, maybe more here and there while you're just really establishing that routine. And, you know, use that time to really get into the books, like make some headway in those books so that you're feeling good. Because come the holiday time, it's going to get a little nutty. And just plan for that. Like, I already know this year for December, we are going to study as a whole family. Instead of my high schooler doing her own book, and my middle schooler doing her own book, and my elementary schoolers doing their book, which we use Brave Writer for, we are all going to do a Christmas Carol. So my oldest daughter will read the original Charles Dickens version. My 8th grader is doing a year of graphic novels, so she will do a graphic version, which probably my elementary schoolers will go ahead and read. And my elementary schoolers will find a kid's version, or will listen to the audio and we'll watch the movie. So we'll embrace this idea of holiday in our school. And I'm already thinking I need to minimize my efforts that month. Like, I don't want to be doing 3 different books and trying to get kids, like, everyone needs to be doing their work and everyone's in a different thing. Like, we're all going to surround around the same topic. And then in January, we'll all be ready to part ways again and kind of go off on their own things. So that was just kind of one thing I was thinking through, is kind of as you're making that year-long general idea. I'm not saying plan every day, but think about those seasons and and plan for that. After and during holiday, yes, exactly, Tristan. A lot of times we are doing 3 different books, and that's really hard on me. I don't want that in December. So think through that kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be a Christmas Carol. It can be, last year we did Holidays Around the World. So other than my high schooler, because she wasn't doing geography with us, she really does like to do her own thing. But last year we did Holidays Around the World, and that's what we did. We just focused on that for December. So like having a plan from Thanksgiving to December that allows you to feel like it's a little different, it's a little more relaxed, whatever it is you want to do, kind of put it in that time period. Maybe it's a great time for Shakespeare. I don't know. We do that in May, but like, it doesn't have to be about a holiday topic. So it could be your time that you do Shakespeare, and you pick a Shakespeare play and you just dive into that, and you kind of let other things fall by the wayside. So you're still kind of accomplishing something educational, but you're kind of mixing it up and leaving more room for margin. Okay. And then in the winter, I jotted down, this is the time of year to embrace some indoor fun. Pull out the board games so that when you're having some unmotivated days, you can pull out a game to play. Maybe plan for one once a week in your plans, and rotate through things that'll make you feel like they're learning some stuff too. Though one could argue you're learning anytime you're playing a game. I would argue that. So it doesn't have to be like a math game. It can just be a fun game and you're learning a lot. But plan for that. We as a family, and we did not do it last year, just because we had other things on the calendar to save up for. But somebody mentioned in here a homeschool conference that happens in January or February. That's a great idea. Plan some sort of vacation, retreat, trip. Maybe it's a mom's retreat. Maybe it's a weekend of, you invite some people over and you watch the Brave Writer, Julie Bogart's DVDs from her retreat or conference. I did that with some moms one time. For our family, we like to go to Great Wolf Lodge in February. It's an awesome indoor water park hotel, and the one in Virginia, if you happen to live near Williamsburg, does amazing deals during the Williamsburg Homeschool Week. So we end up doing that in February, and that really helps. Like when you know you have something on the calendar, you can kind of buckle down for 2 or 3 weeks, that you need to at the start of February because you know something big is coming, like that retreat, that conference, that weekend with the girls, that family vacation. Somebody mentioned, I'm going to scroll back up, that I thought was a great idea too. Oh, movies, Friday afternoons. That's a great idea. Like you can accomplish so much. If you want to make it educational, you could talk about plot and all that kind of stuff. We're trying to think about how to incorporate movies to address some of those things. So I think that's a great idea too. Everyone's done by Friday afternoon. Just know Friday might be the day that you really lack motivation. Maybe for you it's Wednesday. Plan for that. Just know going in, like, I'm gonna need a boost by Friday afternoon. I'm done. We're gonna watch a movie. I started to learn that I really needed some downtime, and this happened about 2 years ago, that I needed some downtime at lunch. I just, after teaching in the morning, and then you're making lunch, and you're trying to have conversation during lunch, and then you still have the afternoon, I was just like, I need a break. So we started watching a show during lunch. My kids literally take their lunch plates, they go and they sit in front of the television, and they watch a show. While I can either watch with them, which is what I tend to do now, but at the time I didn't. I sat at the kitchen table and I kind of chilled by myself. So yeah, that's an idea. We have watched Survivor. We have watched so many Amazon Prime series. We have watched Nailed It on Pinterest. I mean, whatever you can find that suits your family and their ages and that kind of thing. But don't feel bad about TV in the middle of the day. And it was just fun TV. It wasn't anything educational. It was all the kids, and they were bonding over this. We had great conversation about Survivor, or, it could be educational. Maybe they have some YouTube channel they really love or some documentary series. Just know your family. And I just remember feeling really guilty. Like, you're not supposed to watch TV at mealtime. Like, you're supposed to sit around the table and have conversation. I'm with my kids all day having conversation. It was okay to let them watch TV during the day. Anyway, for me, that helped with motivation because it was like this break right in the middle of the day. Like, I just knew, like, let's work. We get to lunch and everyone has a little downtime. Somebody mentioned that Brave Writer has a movie class in November, so that's a great idea if you want to do something. And maybe you switch it up in some of these down months with an online class. That's another great way to do it. What else? Oh, Embrace and the Homeschool Sisters, Kara's on here, are really great about this. In fact, I have their podcast linked up in the notes. They have a whole podcast, I think, on embracing, I don't know how to say Hygge. Hygge? I think it's Hygge. Hygge. It's like the Dutch coziness. Anyway, I was surprised how much in the winter lighting candles and putting fairy lights out was just motivating. Like, it just made it feel nice. Something about that warm lighting. So just for the winter, take some fairy lights and put them down the center of your table where you work. Turn them on. Maybe put a few LED candles in the midst of them. I don't know what it is about that, but winter is kind of a nice time to plan for some cozy motivation. So we were talking about board games, playing them on the floor, playing them in front of the fire. What else I write down? Tea times, somebody mentioned that. I mean, they're great anytime during the year, but having a nice cozy one with fairy lights. So like, think about the season you're in the month and kind of try to embrace what it offers. And I feel like that's motivating because then different months offer different things. So it kind of keeps you thinking the next month, like, ooh, what's really good about, the winter? What's really good about the spring? I'm looking. Okay, perfect. There's another one. That was another thing to mention, is to make sure that you have margin, and not just in your school year in general, but on a daily and a weekly basis. Have margin. Wednesday is a lighter academic or social day. Put the house back in order. Shawnee is sharing that. Shawnee? I hope I'm saying that right. She said it's not like she drops her intentions. It's a regrouping day. Have a regrouping day. Know that, like, maybe Wednesday afternoon, you kind of put things aside and you get the house back in order or whatever you need. For me, Friday, we don't do outside classes. We try to avoid all that. We keep it to kind of be like, what do we need to get done so that we can enjoy the weekend day? So whatever you have to do. The Hobbit is a great idea, Charity, in the winter. So we were talking about that earlier. It doesn't have to be a holiday book per se, but The Hobbit is a great one. So embrace something that the whole family can do together at that holiday time or in January, February, and kind of get yourself going again. Though I do find January is another one of those months that everyone kind of enters somewhat ready to conquer the world again after New Year's. Maybe that's just me. I feel that. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about ideas for fall and winter. How about spring? Okay, so this is one of the things I wrote down. Like right now, while you're planning your school year, make a list of outdoor field trips that you can do in the spring. Embrace that season of feeling unschooly, of feeling ready to get out of the house after being trapped. Like I've wanted to go to Duke Gardens, well, since moving here 5 years ago, and we just never have. That is on my list. In the spring, we will go to Duke Gardens. It's a good time for the zoo. It's a good time for, I know, bird sanctuaries and a tiger rescue and all these things we haven't done. Embrace the spring and get a field trip day going on the calendar. And that just seems motivating. Like, let's get some stuff done because then we're going, to Duke Gardens this month. So I really like to use the spring for field trips. This is also a time to leave some margin in your plans for child-led interests. You're losing a little motivation. Maybe it's time for a little change. See what they want to do. Maybe make April a month where, you know what, guys, everyone gets to pick their book and everyone gets to pick a history topic. Take a break from the norm. I know that's going to be harder depending on curriculums and things that you're using. So please keep in mind, I'm just throwing out a ton of ideas. Some are going to work for you and some aren't. By all means, don't go try to do all of these. If nothing else, Kara just said too, I love the idea of having an afternoon to put the house back together and just kind of a loose day where you can regroup. So that's a great idea. And yes, do all this guilt-free. Definitely. This is the time of year in spring where you're going to rely on that routine you established back in September. Maybe revisit, if you follow like a goal setting, vision setting kind of plan for the year, maybe revisit that sometime here in March or April, and try to recapture that for yourself. Like, okay, I can do this strong, and kind of look back at that. But you're going to rely on what you've established at this time. And yeah, you're going to need a lot of margin in the spring, especially depending on the age of your kids. I'm in this difficult time where when they were all really young, we did a lot of the playground. And now though, I've got a high schooler her classes go till May. She's in some outside of our house classes. And so we kind of have to balance that wanting to chill with having to keep up with that. Which now I was going to give you some tips that I came up with. Oh, yeah. Okay. Nature study in spring. Great idea. During the year, some things that I do to help me stay motivated. One, and I'm actually so far not doing this year, but have done for about the last many years, is plan some sort of monthly group with people, because it keeps you accountable and it's something to look forward to and celebrate. So last year we did a geography group, and every few weeks we got together with some other families to celebrate studying countries on a certain continent. And that was just really helpful. When I needed motivation, I had that date coming up that we were getting together and I wanted to at least have done something. by that point. And then you had this great celebration day. So it was motivating for the kids, it was motivating for me. So whether it's monthly book clubs, whether it's a monthly tea time with other families, whether it's a geography thing. We've always done it with history and geography, like get together to, when we did Story of the World, every like 6 to 8 chapters, we would get together with the families and do something. So if you can arrange something like that in your area, finding other people using the same resources, then do that sort of thing. I find that monthly checkpoint is really helpful. I have also found whatever groups it is you're doing, try to avoid meeting in December. No one feels up to it unless you're just getting together for a party. And be careful about May. It's just, people are kind of done. So that's my thought on the monthly get-togethers. They're great. Just kind of know the vibe. Okay, here's another one that I don't know why this didn't occur to me years ago, but it just occurred to me 2 years ago. Plan teacher work days in your calendar. The school does, why don't we? So look at your calendar, and like when I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, September and October, you know, you're usually pretty gung-ho, things are going well, we can go attack it. Let's plan a teacher work day at the end of October, early November. And plan 2. I mean, frankly, I like to take a Thursday and Friday. So like we'll do school Monday through Wednesday. Now granted, my high schooler might have some stuff to do on Thursday and Friday that I might have to help her out with. But plan to end the week with a teacher work day. They do it all the time. In fact, that's what gave me the idea is all these neighborhood kids were knocking at the door in like October. And I was like, what are y'all doing? Aren't you supposed to be in school? And they were like, oh, it's teacher work day. And my kids were like, can we have a teacher work day? And I'm like, wait a second. It's not about you having a teacher work day. It's about me having a teacher work day. But you know what? Yes, you can. And I did. I literally at that moment said, yes, you can. And I sent my children out to play also. And I took a teacher work day. So please, guilt-free, plan a few in your calendar. I'm thinking early November. It'll be time for me to kind of regroup and be like, what do we want to do for that holiday season? And then I'm thinking sometime in February, just because I hate February. It's so hard. So maybe early February, you know, make it through January and then have 2 more days. So do the teacher work day. Somebody else. Yes, we're going to get into community too, Tristan. So I'm going to come back to that comment. That's a great idea. We're going to get into, that's on this list here. Plan some adventures throughout your year to enjoy the kids. We've kind of talked about that with the seasons, but make sure there's some fun stuff out there that's really motivating for everyone. And I find it really important because you need, you guys are so funny. You need to be mom. You know, sometimes we're teacher, and having adventures on the calendar, and they can be educational field trips. They can just be fun stuff. Helps you just be mom again for the day. And I think that's really important for the relational and emotional feel in your house. And then that helps with motivating you and keeping you going and the kids. So I don't mean just educational field trips. Like my kids know they can pick 2 times during the year to go to Galaxy Fun Park. It's like laser tag, go-kart, trampoline, typically February. And sometimes it's October, November, kind of like a kickoff of the school year. So yeah, that February, man, I don't know what it is. Okay, here's another thing to help with motivation. Know your bare minimum. Know your bare minimum. Like when you wake up that morning and you're like, oh, I don't have it in me today. What is the bare minimum that will make you feel good? Think about that right now and be honest. Like at the end of the day, what makes you feel like, well, at least we did blank. Fill that in. For me, it's math and enjoying my kids, which usually involves reading out loud and games. So at least we did math and I read them a story. Like, is that a bare minimum you can have? I mean, maybe poetry tea time works for you as a bare minimum. At least we did a poetry tea time today. Whatever it is, kind of know and have that in your back pocket for a few days during the year when you have to pull that out. Know what your bare minimum is for your high schooler. If you are watching with teens, I have written down 3 subjects. I'm working through a book. Yeah, Kara, what is up with that? I'm working through a book called Minimalist Homeschooling, and it had me boil down 6 subjects, 3 primary, 3 secondary. And my teenager and I sat down, and we have made one of her primary subjects in September and October PSAT prep. So it's, I think, math, PSAT prep, and Spanish, her primary subjects. So if we have a day where everything needs to get tossed except the bare minimum, we know what that will be for her. We have agreed that in September and October, leading up to the PSAT, that will be the bare minimum. After the PSAT, something else will fill in that spot. But it's just really sometimes helpful to know what is going to make you feel okay at the end of the day. I'm not suggesting doing that every day, but don't feel guilty on a day you have to pull that out. Okay, here's another one, and then we're going to talk about community, is find sources of inspiration throughout the year. Find some way to plug in to voices of inspiration. And I'm going to start with podcasts and books and stuff, and then we're going to boil that down into local communities and things like that. So make sure you know what inspires you. I'm going to share some things that inspire me. Up in the description of this, I linked to some podcasts. The first one is the Homeschool Sisters. Actually in the description of the video, Deanna, I have actually this information that I'm about to share. I have it up there. Sorry, need a little tea. Okay, the Homeschool Sisters podcast. Kara Anderson is actually on here, or she was at some point, and Caitlin Curley. They are 2 homeschool moms, and they chat about all sorts of topics, and they're funny, and they're real, and they're down to earth, and I just love. That's a great podcast, like when you're folding the laundry, when you're doing dinner. Get in the habit of filling yourself with some voices of inspiration during the year. I cannot figure out how to get Alexa to play my podcast yet, but I can hook my computer up as Bluetooth, and then I'll play it through the computer so it goes throughout the kitchen, and I just listen to it. So that's one. There's Kara. Hiya, Kara. So she rocks. Listen to her talk with Kate. They're awesome. Then I linked to Julie Bogart's Brave Writer. If you know me at all, you know I'm a huge fan. Julie is, even if you don't use her curriculum, though I highly suggest you look into it, she is so inspiring. She does different things for each season of her podcast, and they've all been fantastic. So just check it out, look at the topics, and let her just speak some wisdom and inspiration into your homeschool and your life. Pam Barnhill is another person that she actually has 3 podcasts. I've listened to 2. So those are the 2 I linked to. There's one on your morning time basket I've not linked to, but she has the Homeschool Solution Show and Homeschool Snapshots. The Homeschool Solution Show has various bloggers reading their inspirational blog posts. So just some of their best blog material being read to you, which is awesome. Like pop that in during dinner and listen to a blogger read you some really great blog posts. So it tends to be shorter. And then there's Homeschool Snapshots where she interviews various people. I think I listened to the Susan Wise Bauer one. That was really good. And there's a bunch of others so you can look for a topic. So fill your mind with inspiring things. I see people suggesting wireless earbuds for dinner prep. Absolutely. Julie Bogart's podcast, I tend to just play on my Alexa, and if my kids listen to it, it's actually great. It's really good for them to hear some of the stuff. So, but I invested in Bluetooth headphones. Definitely get yourself a pair, pop those in. You're just going to need to talk to your kids about the fact that you sometimes have headphones in and you're not ignoring them. Oh, Deanna, I didn't link to that one. I'll add that to the description. The Read Aloud a Revival podcast. That's another great one. So all of these things will just keep you, when you're having one of those teacher work days, plan to listen to a podcast. When you're having one of those unmotivated days and you're just going to do the bare minimum, use the afternoon for a podcast and get yourself motivated again. And then find some you just like. I mean, I'm not going to give you all my theology podcasts, but that's something I just enjoy. So I will listen to that sometimes. Like Jen Hatmaker's podcast, I love. But it's not about homeschooling. But find one you like that's not about homeschooling, that you just really enjoy listening to, and do that too. But that's not necessarily motivation for homeschooling. That's self-care, which kind of goes with it. Okay, I think I've mentioned all the podcasts that are in the description Yes. So now I'm going to tell you about some books that you just need to own. If you don't, probably a lot of you do. These are Julie. I have two of them. I only have the one that I linked to. I'm sorry, I'm like getting off topic, but I just ordered it. I have the fall one. These are called A Gracious Space. They're for each season. This is winter. See that little higgy, that little cup of hot hoogie. I think it's hoogie. Hot chocolate right there. And this one is spring. There is a fall one. I have linked to it in the description. It is on sale right now. It is $5.97. Go buy it. You will not regret this. This is inspiration for you during the school year. I'm going to show you how these are set up. And the great thing about Julie is she's one of the people that kind of taught me to embrace the season that you're in. So these are written to embrace that season, to give you motivation for the fall, for that winter time, and then for the springtime. So you get in, this one is 50. I'm assuming they're all 50. Little readings to do each day that'll only take a few moments and just will inspire you. Whether you read it the night before, whether you read it first thing in the morning, these are fantastic. So, see, day one, throw it at the wall, see what sticks. And you're just gonna read, it's literally 4 pages, 3.5, and then there's a quote and a sustaining thought at the end of each one. So look at that sustaining thought. Sometimes the end leads us to the beginning, and that leads us to enthusiasm. What a great thought. I cannot speak any more highly of these books. So I actually realized when I was doing this that I don't own the fall one in hard copy. I own the ebook. So I ordered it today as a treat to myself. So, especially because it was under $6. So right now you can get the fall one. It's on sale, and then keep watching for the other two, but they're under $10 even when they're not on sale, and they are well worth $100. So there's one of my suggestions. Clearly I like that one. Okay, and then I just got another new book today. Actually, I wanted to have it up here so I could tell you guys a little bit about it, but it doesn't, oh, here it is. It is called 7 Secrets the Happiest Homeschool Moms Know, and it is free. So there is no reason not to go get it. I've linked to that up in the description also. It was written by the lovely Kara Anderson, who is on this Facebook Live and who is one of the sisters in the Homeschool Sisters podcast. And she has written, based on all of her years of experience, 7 things that the happiest homeschool moms she thinks know. Oh, good. Deanna got it too. It's a quick read. It's a lot of the stuff we're talking about here. I think you would really like it. I would definitely check that out, and it's free. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you everything that's in it because it's good. Go get it. You'll like that too. And then find voices that inspire you in social media. Find Facebook pages and Facebook groups. Find Instagram people that when you see their feed, you're like, oh, that's a great idea. And it makes you want to try it. I have been doing a series, and I'll post a blog post in 3 weeks. The series will be done. And it's 5 homeschool moms you probably aren't following, but should be. And I've just been sharing some of the smaller Facebook pages and Instagram accounts that I follow that are really inspiring to me. Thank you, Deanna. That make me feel motivated. So we all know about some of the bigger accounts, but there's a lot of great homeschool moms out there sharing their stuff, and find the ones that speak to you. So thank you, girls. That's very kind. Okay, so that is an idea. I've been sharing them. I've shared 2. In fact, maybe I'll link to that blog post in the description of this video later. I'm going to post them all on my blog in like 3 weeks when I'm done. But I've been sharing on a Friday a new Facebook page to follow. I can tell you one was Nerdy Little Birdie. That's Heather Hitchcock. I'm writing it down here because these are really great. And the great thing about Heather is she has teenagers and she is awesome. And then the other one I shared was it's Audrey Butters. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Our Gifted Homeschool. Okay, I'm writing these down for you. These are the 2 I've shared so far. So I know Heather does more on Instagram, and on Instagram, she's at Heather Nerdy Little Birdie. So you need to have the at Heather part. So it's at Heather Nerdy Little Birdie, all one word. And then Audrey Butters is at Our Gifted Homeschool. So just find some that when you see what they're going on, when you see some of the stuff they're doing, it's inspiring to you. And then find community. And somebody said this earlier, was it Tristan? That they get together with some moms for coffee once a month. Yes, find local and online communities where you can talk about this stuff. Like, hey guys, oh my gosh, is anyone else dying? It's February. Boy, we're picking on February. You need to find some fun stuff. Thank you, Holly. Yes. And if somebody has her Facebook page, you can drop it in the comments. So yeah, find some local moms. It can be one friend. It can be a little group of friends, whatever you can find. Meet for coffee. There's a few moms here that we get together for a breakfast on Saturdays at 7:30 a.m. You know that I love these moms to be at breakfast at 7:30 a.m. And we do it like every other week. There's a great idea. Get a book club going for professional development, that keeps you growing and learning and expanding and that kind of stuff. So definitely, read through something like this. Read through, I know Julie Bogart is writing another book that's going to be released. That would be a great one when that happens. Pam Barnhill released Better Together. Sarah Mackenzie from Read Aloud Revival has Teaching from Rest. Something like that. Oh, people are sharing some great ideas. I'm not going to be able to keep up with all these. Guys are so... Oh, Audrey, we're just talking about your Facebook page. Please drop a link to it. That would be awesome. Drop a link to your Facebook page. Audrey just hopped in here. That was one of the Facebook pages I was talking about. So find a community. I am also in Julie Bogart's Homeschool Alliance. That has been an awesome community to stay motivated because Julie assigns not assigns like you have to do, but shares monthly ideas for your homeschool, that kind of thing. So awesome. That is, Kirsten's in here. Kirsten, if you want to drop a link to the Homeschool Alliance, that would be great. You can join up that group and you get webinars with Julie's wisdom and you get monthly, one thing that you can do. There you go. Michelle's saying she just joined the Alliance. So there's an online community really focused on professional development and broadening ideas in our homeschools and supporting each other. So there's one online. Okay, what else? I have find some local make coffee dates. I know if you're an introvert, it can be hard. But just text someone hey, you want to grab coffee this week? Okay, Kirsten just dropped the Alliance. My Gifted Homeschool. Thank you. I said Our Gifted Homeschool. I'm switching that up. So Audrey is at My Gifted Homeschool. Okay. Yeah, the Alliance is great. Okay, I have created several Voxer addicts. Voxer is linked up in my description of this video. This is what I'm saying. This is the word, Voxer. This is an app that I have found really helps me staying connected to community. So this is like a walkie-talkie app, and you can Vox people, and you can leave, it's like voice messages. Anyway, it's awesome. Check it out. Find your friends on there. And it uses Wi-Fi, so if you have international friends, you can Vox, which is awesome. So for busy moms who want to stay connected in community, it's really great. Saturday breakfast, mom's nights, and play. We've talked about that. Another way to stay motivated is to play. It's so draining to always have to be on task and to always feel like you have to be a taskmaster. And I feel like we do that sometimes. So I really loved someone in here saying they kind of play on Wednesdays a little lighter on the academics and leave time to regroup and organize their house, because then that's also you feel like then you can chill. Let's play a game. I already said to my boys, what do you want to do after my Facebook Live? Because I've been working all morning. And we're going to play Monopoly. They're really into Monopoly right now. So just make sure you have time to connect with the people, because that helps with motivation. Okay, I don't even know what time. Oh, what time is it? Wow, we've been talking a while, but we are going to squeeze in self-care, okay? Let's squeeze in self-care because, bowling. We bowl once a week too on Thursdays. So yeah, have something in that calendar. Okay, so we've talked all about staying motivation in so many different ways. Please know you cannot do all of this. So pick some ideas to try this year and see what works for you. And then self-care. You have got to take care of you. Like, if mama isn't happy, then, okay, I keep reading the comments. I need to stop. If mama isn't, feeling like herself, is feeling completely neglected, it's not going to be good. So you have to take care of you. Tristan just mentioned another website, Play for Life Moms, another group where they encourage moms with text messages, and they're doing a lot in their Facebook group these days to just really keep moms playing with their kids and focused on taking time to enjoy their children. Yes, self-care is essential. This has looked different for me at all different seasons of my life, because when you have 4 or 2 or 6 little ones, it's going to look very different than what I can get away with older kids now. I mean, like the other day I was driving around and I was like, wow, my life is so different now. Like, I went to the Y by myself, and then I went to grab groceries on the way home because I knew I could, and then came home, and like in the meantime, my kids had like come and gone doing things. It's just weird, but it's good. So self-care is going to be a lot harder when your kids are little, but it's hard with teenagers because you're running them around. So it's different hard. So you need to think about, like, one good question is like, how do I want to start my day? And try to commit to it. Like, do you want to start with reading a little something? Do you want to just start with scrolling Facebook? Do you want to start with a book? Do you want to start with a cup of hot tea? Something that kind of gets you together. I am my best when I don't start it on social media. But boy, it's hard. So be honest with yourself. Like, okay, well, maybe I'll give myself a 15-minute timer on social media, but then I want to get up early enough so then I kind of get myself ready for the day ahead of us. Whatever you need to do, think about self-care. Think about what you need to be healthy and to feel good. So maybe you need to exercise or work out. Maybe you just need to walk outside. Maybe you just need to sit on the porch and get some fresh air at some point. Kind of think through that stuff and then think about your best time to grab it. I am not a morning person. I have tried to work out in the morning, and it's not great. Working out in the morning, MJ, you're asking about running around is hard and trying to do self-care. Working out in the morning would be the best time because I could get up, I could work out, and then the day could begin. When I can do that, that feels great, but I cannot do a hard workout in the morning. I can take a walk, I can maybe jog some, but my body is just like, I could go take a run at 9 at night, but the morning's really hard. So you have to kind of think about that. Yeah, MJ, it is really hard. And last year I didn't do a great job of it. By May, I really wanted to curl up in a little ball and cry that month because it had gotten so hard running the people around. So there are just seasons like that. I don't have a great solution because there wasn't a whole lot I could do about it except recognize it and tell my husband and see what we could do. So for me, I try to plan to work out. Like, I try to think ahead and say, okay, 2 o'clock is going to be my time. And I will say to the kids, like, mommy's going to the treadmill at 2. It used to be when mine were little, my husband got home about 4:30 at the time at that job. And literally I would be dressed to run. And he would walk in the door and I would walk out in my running clothes, headphones on, ready to go. So I just knew. I mean, man, I was probably getting dressed some days at 3:30, like crossing my fingers he was getting home early. My oldest kid was 8. There were 4 of them. And I loved those days, but I was ready to run. So think through, talk to your husband, find out what's reasonable. Maybe working out every day isn't, 4 times a week. Saturday and Sunday and 2 days during the week. So think about what's reasonable too. And yes, Kirsten, I'm really looking forward to that driver's license in the end of October, early November. She gets it. And it is going to change a lot. I'm trying not to let the terror in my heart creep in too. Oh, I wanted to say this about self-care too. Here's another little one. You can serve frozen meals. like frozen meals bought, store-bought frozen, not like meals you froze. You are allowed to serve frozen food sometimes. You are allowed to serve cereal for dinner. You are allowed to serve waffles for dinner. We're having waffles tonight, in fact, if that makes you feel any better. I feel like sometimes we just put so much pressure that we don't, like if I need, like, oh my gosh, I have to work out at 5 today, but I can't work out at 5 and then make dinner. It's just too much. Well, then that's when you pull out the Stouffer's lasagna. Or, you know, if you're really good at all this stuff, then maybe you have a crock pot thing going and you can do all that. Meal planning is my weakness, so I'm not really good at all that stuff. So it just took me a long time to realize that it was okay if there were good dinners, you know, like 2 times a week. That's a high goal for me. Yeah, breakfast for dinner, you know, just know you can't do it all. Something's got to give. So if you say, I'm going to work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then something else has to give those days. And that's okay. Go for it. Here's some other things I've done. When my kids were really little, my husband had a job that it worked out that he took a day off once a month after my 4th one was born for probably 6 months. And it had to be a work day. I was like, I don't want a day off on Saturday. Saturday is my day to get things done. I want a day off on Wednesday. So he would take a day off, and I would leave the house in the morning, and I didn't come back till after bedtime. And I wasn't productive. That was the agreement, that I didn't grocery shop. I might run an errand or two if I really needed to get something done, but I just relaxed. I would not have survived those early years without it. So you do need to like put this out to your family too. Like your husband, if you have teenagers, you know, what can happen so that mommy can get some of the stuff she needs. So we talked about teacher work days, but also just sometimes like mental health days. When we first moved to Raleigh, one of the things that was weighing on me, this is going to sound so silly, but like we moved to this new town, my oldest kid was only in 5th grade, and I couldn't explore it. I could, but I was exploring the children's museums and I was exploring the playgrounds. I'm like, I want to get to know my town. Like, where's the coolest coffee shops and the best restaurants? Like, I can take my 4 kids to a coffee shop, but it's not quite the same. And I certainly can't afford to explore all these restaurants with 4 kids in tow and adult things. So again, I said to my husband, like, I'm so jealous of you. You get to go out to lunch and you're telling me all these cool places and I don't get to do any of that. So we decided that, I think we did it every other week for a while. I went out to dinner by myself. He would come home and it was usually waffle or cereal night or something for him. And I went and tried a new restaurant. I'm totally fine eating alone in a restaurant with a good book. So I had no problem with that. Maybe for you it's movies. Maybe you're really into movies and you can't get to the theater because you can't go to a rated R movie with your little children. See if you can get a movie night, either with friends or by yourself, once a month. Whatever it is that just makes you feel better. At the time, for me, when we first moved, I wanted to try new restaurants. I wanted to be able to explore this wonderful city of Raleigh and couldn't do it during the day with the kids. So there's another idea. If you love reading, there's some things that you can do and plan in your school day with the kids. So if reading really restores you, then have a time where everyone sits and reads for a half hour. In school, we call that DEAR time, DEAR. Drop everything and read. So implement DEAR time if that's something you love. If you really love, like we're trying now that I have older kids, we're really thinking of working at, of putting in our school day time to go to the Y. So my one of my teens has been taking classes with me. The other one's learned to use the gym, and we're just thinking that will become part of our school day. So now suddenly, instead of trying to find a place for the little ones to be while I go work out, now suddenly they want to go work out too. So it changes with every season. So sit down and think, like, what do I need and how can we make that happen? So it just always looks different. And I think that's what's hard, is you kind of have to recognize where you are. And it also depends on your husband's job. Like my husband couldn't take one day off a month now for me anymore. It just happened the job he had at the time, he could. Now he could work from home because the kids are older if I needed a day. But if your husband travels, it's going to look different. You find a friend. Maybe they take the kids one afternoon and you take them another afternoon. I don't know. We've thrown out a ton of ideas. I don't know if you guys have some other ones. Some of the stuff we talked about, staying motivated, will help with self-care. Having candles around, having fairy lights. There you go. Somebody else is saying the why. Exactly. That's a great idea, Michelle. Every day, 4 to 5:30. I think that's awesome. I would have to be better about meal planning. But that would motivate me to do it, knowing I was going to the why. Okay, I feel like we're kind of winding down. I did link to 2 blog posts. One is written again by Kara Anderson, and she just has some different homeschool moms who gave their tips for self-care on her blog. So that might be something to check out. And I have one where I wrote 5 really simple things. I'm talking like I bought a lip exfoliator, which I haven't used in a while. I really should. That just felt nice to start the day with sometimes. And a face exfoliator. It was just nice. Like, give yourself a mask. I did a bath with a bath bomb last night. Like, treat yourself to a few little things that you really like. And you can read while you're laying in the tub. Or last night, I decided to watch one of my guilty pleasure television shows, which right now happens to be Glee. So I'm going back to season 1 with Glee because I love the music. So I sat in the tub and relaxed with the bath bomb and a television show. Oh my gosh, somebody's taking adult tap dancing classes. That's awesome. My husband and I took line dancing and swing classes. So there's another thing. Now that's when we had parents around who could watch the kids. We don't have that anymore, but now we have kids who can watch themselves, so we could still do it. Let's see, what else was on that 5? Oh, candles was on there. Oh, popcorn. Here's a simple self-care thing I do for myself every night. I have a bowl of popcorn. I just love it. I sit with my popcorn and watch a show with my teen girls, and it's just a great way to end the day. And I'm doing a lot of things. I'm enjoying a snack I like, and I'm watching a show, which I actually like because my kids are teens now, and I'm connecting with my teens. They love watching a show together. So, boundaries for kids to leave you alone. That was a lot harder when they were little. So that's why I often ran out the door when my husband came home, because I went and worked out outside of the house. So that's kind of tough. Working out on the treadmill, I was able to do that once the youngest one was about 4. And so I would tell them, like, this is the time that I'm going to go work out. What are you going to do? I think that helps too. Like, what are they going to do? Like, when I went to get on this Facebook Live, I have 2 boys home with me right now. Now, granted, they're 11 and 9, but I said, like, hey, mommy's going to be on Facebook Live. What are you guys going to do? They're playing Fortnite. That's what they always do. And I said, does anyone need anything? Are you hungry? Yes. So I cut up an apple so that they had some snacks so that everyone could kind of do their thing. So it does take a little prep. When your kids are even younger, it's even a little harder. So I don't know if they could watch a show. I think I did a lot of that. Like, I would get on the treadmill when they were watching a movie or a show. So we just kind of knew that time. The hard part is that the treadmill also involves usually a shower after. So you really need like an hour because you need to be able to work out and then get a shower. So if they have like an hour Netflix show that they could watch, or 2 episodes of a shorter cartoon. And I think part of self-care is not feeling guilty. I don't know why we feel guilty about everything. And maybe this is just me. I know it's not just me, because I was talking about a friend with it the other day that, like, it's hard for me then to get on the treadmill and not feel guilty that they're watching TV. I don't know why. I was just saying to someone the other day, like, I was feeling guilty, like, oh, I should be. I always do the I should be. I should be playing a game with them right now, not doing this. We've got to work on eliminating that voice too. Like, I will be better after a nice run, and then we can play the game or whatever's on my mind. So yeah, and having it consistently, I think that helps too. So being able to say, and again, this all goes back to being reasonable with your circumstances. So maybe working out Monday through Friday, all 5 days a week, is not the most reasonable thing with your family situation. So on the days, like if you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday to get in some extra time when your husband's home, can you Tuesday and Thursday take a walk outside with the kids so that they kind of can participate? And yeah, though I have been known to be like, I need a break. Can't you understand? But yeah, maybe just being like, hey, it's really important for mommy to take care of herself and to be healthy. And part of being healthy is me, doing my yoga or taking a run or whatever it is for you, going to the Y or just going to coffee. Part of me being able to be mentally healthy, we talk a lot about mental health in this house. I have teens, is having some time to read by myself or whatever it is and just be able to frame it a little nicer. Because it's somehow like they know and they think that we're hiding from them and they're like, I'm coming to find you. So yeah, that might help too, is just to kind of talk about that. So, wow. Okay, I'm going to have to cut myself off at an hour. I can't believe I sit here and chat so long on Facebook Live. I feel like self-care might be a topic we might need to address again separately. Maybe I feel like we could address it all the time. Maybe we'll address it in February. All right, ladies, but yes, you are allowed time for you. We need to stop the voices of guilt of what we should be doing all the time. And I do think honest conversation with the family, even when the kids are little. I remember I used to try to do rest time and make them stay on blankets. That did not work at all. Like, friends kept telling me this would work, that this would magically work. Like if I put out blankets and told them they could take all their toys on blankets and they could play, like it just never worked. So I don't know. And yes, listening to podcasts becomes part of self-care and Facebook community time becomes part of self-care. And I know for a lot of moms like myself, like having a blog, having social media accounts where they share things, like that's part of self-care. So it's just kind of thinking through you and what you need. But I do know we need downtime mentally, and a lot of us need physical workout time that has to be planned into those schedules and days. All right, ladies, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for being here. And tomorrow at 11:30, I had some people request art. And I'm going to try to go back into the recesses of my brain and remember what we did when my kids were younger. I've got a whole stack of books here and just talk through art. So bring your ideas too. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Now everyone get off and go practice self-care. And we'll report back. Bye, guys. You're welcome.